Greetings Autobots, and welcome back to another Transformers ASMR review. Now, if you hear any sounds like pitter-pattering of footsies, my puppy Toby is just wandering around, minding his own business. I decided to let him in the comfy table. I decided to let him in my recording studio tonight, so hey, he'll probably just be on his best behaviour. But tonight we're going to be diving back to 1996 and taking a look at an older Transformers figure, that being the Transformers Beast Wars Ultra Class Optimus Primal. So similarly to the Optimus Primal I looked at, this does not actually transform into a vehicle. Rather, it turns into, well, a gorilla. I think it's a silverback gorilla, to be precise, and it does a pretty decent job at hiding its nature as a robot. Toby's just sniffing the carpet, don't mind him. But you can see all over the figure. We'll take a close look at the head sculpt, because you can see a very nice detailed head sculpt. You've got these little moulded rings around the eyes. You've got the teeth moulded in and picked out in a slightly yellow paint. Even the hair, the nose, everything. It's got very nice moulding for an old school figure. Now this is the reissue of the figure, but the only thing that's different about it is the chest piece. Everything else is pretty much identical. But you have these little arms here. No articulation here, though you can swivel them. But there is a special feature to these arms, which I will show in a bit. Come around, you can see their little chest here with some moulded in abs. And all across the figure, you've got this lovely looking fur detail. And it just has this nice sort of scratchy feeling to it. You know what it reminds me of? One of the reasons I love this figure in particular is because it reminds me of this Hot Wheels track I had as a kid. I think it was called Gorilla Attack, where it was just this massive set of loops and this arcade centre in the middle with a giant gorilla erupting out of it. And you had to race the car around, you had to go around, until eventually you could fire a little missile and would knock the gorilla down, and then you would win the day. Or he could use this giant fist and go and slam you through the track into a cage. Oh, I love that track so much. I lost pieces for it, and now I don't have it anymore, so oh, I'm sad. But like I said, this figure actually has well, I didn't mention this, but this figure is packed, and I mean packed to the gills with gimmicks and play features. This figure's still available to get for the reissue, or the reissue's still available to get on websites like shopping centres and stuff. So if you find this out in the wild, no pun intended, definitely feel free to pick this guy up, because he more than gets my recommendation. But first we'll start off with the mythical arse button. He has a button on his buttocks, which if you press here, it flips open 2 missile launchers, which almost kind of looks like, oh, he is also containing swords and these little, sorry, ignore that, Toby's being a bit, he doesn't know how this whole thing works. Sorry folks, just had to make a quick edit. Toby was being a little bit of a grump, but back to the figure review. So like I said, he opens up these 2 missile launchers, and they actually kind of look like bloodhound ears. Imagine seeing this running towards you, like just going to the zoo, or imagine watching Planet of the Apes, and then all of a sudden this guy comes in like just shooting everything. It'd be a nightmare. Boy's a dear. But we'll just take out the sword on the other side. He's got these little curved blue scimitars. We'll just pop them out to the side, and we'll, oh, come on. There we go. Sometimes it could be a little bit finicky, but just make sure it's plugged in. But the other feature this guy has, or is arguably one of the coolest features I've seen on a toy. What you have to do is take his arms, activating that gimmick, of course, and let me see what, I think you're supposed to just take this little switch, bring it down, sort of angle his arm like this, and just do the same thing on the other side, like take switch, plug it down, and then what you can do is come around to his back, and there's this little knob here that you just get your finger in and sort of bring it down. It's kind of, there we go. You just have to bring it up, and then you can do this. You can make him beat his chest like a real gorilla. It's awesome. I love that feature. It's such a simple thing, but just, if you actually switch it, you can have him go like, just bash him up and down, but let's just see if we can get them both down. There we go. It's just a matter of getting that all. I love that feature. It's just such a simple little gimmick, but it just really, it's the little things like this that make these old toys so much fun to film. But we'll just set him back in his default setting. Plug in his, come on. There we go, that's as best as we could put it. So now we get to experience the transformation. So let me just straighten up a bit. So what you're going to want to do is come around to the legs, straighten them out, come to the monkey feet and flip them up and around, and these will be the robot mode heels. Take his waist, rotate it 180 so his crotch piece is facing forward. Then you're going to take what will be the robot mode feet, bring them down, and that's the legs all done. So now you're going to want to come around to the arms, so just bring his arm down, and if you come around to the back, you'll see there's a little guard here that stops the shoulder pad from coming out. You're going to want to just slightly push that so you have clearance to bring this up and over, and then it will lock into place. Take the forearm and rotate it so that it faces forward like such. Repeat the same process. Shoulder pad, up and over, arm, flip so the fist is facing like such. And we are almost done. We just have to come around to the 8-pad and then sever it from his head and then put it on his chest. But not really, I'm just doing this for a bit. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of Crippletron from Family Guy. Don't know why. It just does. But you're going to want to push down on the monkey face at the mouth and then flip it until the chest piece faces forward, and then bring it down until it sort of locks itself into place. Bring the head up, and you'll notice it's got a different head sculpt because this is actually a sort of mutant head based on the original Optimus Primal, who was going to turn into a bat and Megatron was going to turn into a crocodile. But this head here, I think it's alright. You know, it doesn't really suit Optimus Primal, but as a battle mask, it's kind of neat. So, you know, I don't really have much to say on that regard. But what you're going to want to do is just take the head, rotate it 180, bring the mask down, and then rotate the head 180, but keep the mask. And let's see, let's just get them all. Let's bring them up. Here you have Optimus Primal in his robot mode. And for a figure that doesn't go too much for show accuracy, it's accurate in all the right areas. The face sculpt is really good. Take a closer look at the head sculpt. If I could just zoom in just a wee pinch. You've got this lovely sort of metallic blue for the head. You've got that iconic Optimus crest and the antenna, but you've also got these piercing red eyes and this gleaming white faceplate. And just all over the body, the ape detail, how it carries over with the robot detail being crossed in. With these white sort of tendon-like areas and these bright splashes of red. Just really gives the figure it gives it some extra detail if you ask me. But just make sure everything is accounted for. But yeah, he is pretty damn cool, if you ask me. So let's talk about his posability, because Primal is actually fairly articulated for such an old figure. You have a full ratchety rotation at the arm, I wish I could roll my R's and I could be like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog. He's like, what was it he says? He's like, it's my new egomatic tunnelizer and town terrorizer. But we have full degree rotation, or full 360 rotation. You got a swivel at the wrist, so you can sort of swivel them in and out. I'm going to try not to be too rough because the gears could be a bit sensitive. But you can bring the legs up that far, and you can bring them a bit over 90. Your toes can move up and down, that's more so for transformation. And there's nothing at the foot, the feet are just moulded, and the fists as well are moulded in. Oh, I should say articulation of the forearm. This is the wrist, that's the forearm. Come on, catch up. I apologise if this video is a little slapdash or anything, but I don't know, I just wanted to have something out for you guys, but I wasn't going to just half-ass it, you know, I wanted to pick a figure I was passionate about and something that I can really just take joy in showing with you guys, and I think this one's going to be a hit. So let me know what you guys think. Now, Primal isn't done yet. He still has a lot of gimmicks left. First off, being his forearm blaster. You might say, oh, but where's the blaster? What are you talking about? Well, watch and learn, folks, because it's about to go off. What we're going to want to do is just press down on this. There's a little notch that if you press it down and forward, pow, you've got dual blaster cannons. Now, it is kind of weird how his arm just hangs here. It doesn't like clip or tab, but honestly, when you get him into a pose, oh, I forgot to mention, he has a full range of rotation. He has a full range of rotation at the head, though it is hindered by this thing getting in the way. I kind of wish you could just, actually, yeah, you probably could just take the mask off because it's on a little peg thing there, but I don't know. I think I'll just keep it on for the time being. But you can actually get some pretty cool poses out of this guy with his blaster. I mean, look at that. That looks really cool. You feeling lucky, punk? Well, that's more of an Ironhide thing, but hey-ho. That's just Prime. And it just... So we'll just plug in... Actually, leave the gun out for the time being, just because it looks cool. Now, his next play feature comes from his other arm, because you'll notice there's these little nubs sticking out, and you're just going to flip that open, and you've got a, what looks like a severed head, or a skull. And this is actually a chain mace the Primal can wield. It's on a little string, so you're just going to want to bring it out, and then plug it in to his arm. Let's see if I can just plug that in. Right there, perfect. And if you adjust the, there's these little black bits, these control the gears in the arms, which allow them the rotation gimmick. If you flip the gears up, they change, so instead of moving in and out, they go side to side. So you can do, if I just get his, he's a very difficult butt flap, but if you just plug it in, you can kind of, oh, it's going a bit skew with the other arm. But yeah, you can kind of have him flailing his mace around. It's just a little bit clicky, so I think I might hold off on that. But let's see, we'll just try and plug everything back together as best we can. There we go. Let's see, there we go. So we can have him holding his mace, but he also has his shoulder cannons, which look a lot better in his robot mode. So, same drill as before, I'll just press the butt flap, I just angle myself so that I can, yeah, that's the stuff. Now, they do indeed fire. They've got little buttons at the top here, so you can just, I'm going to pick those up after the video because Transformers missiles, they tend to get lost with me, just saying. It's kind of a curse in this household. But we've got we've got everything else, but we have his swords. Now he can hold them both one-handed, or he can hold the both of them at the same time. Just by plugging them in at the top and then the other one at the bottom. But for this one, we'll just show him both of his swords and get him posed up. He's so cool. Just, he feels like these kinds of old toys, just, it makes you think, you know, they were designed with fun and play features first and foremost. That even, you know, it says a lot about their quality and their fun factor that even me, at this point, still find great enjoyment out of like the more gimmicky figures. They're just, it's such a universal joy, you know? Let's just plug in his flap again. If you guys know how to get that flap back in easier, fill me in, because for me at least, it's a little bit problematic. So just take the swords out. And that is pretty much it for the ape or robot mode. So yeah, this guy is absolutely loaded with play features and gimmicks that make him not only a great retro figure for collectors, but also for kids who are either just want to get into Transformers, or who like, even if they don't know about Transformers and they just like animals like gorillas and all, this is still a really cool figure. And with that being said, let's get him back into his ape mode. So, we're just gonna rattle off about some stories while I transform this guy. But yeah, like I was saying earlier in the video, man, that Hot Wheels set was the best. You know, nowadays, Hot Wheels sets, they're good, don't get me wrong, but I really miss the ones where it was just these massive creatures. You know, you had the pterodactyl, T-Rex. It was like they had their own stories where it was like, oh, this giant gorilla's attacking the city, you need to stop it with your Hot Wheels cars. And you know, it felt like an adventure. Every single time you opened those, you set up those tracks or put your cars on, you felt like you were in a movie, you were telling a story. And it was just special, you know, to have that kind of imagination and to still hold your imagination. Never lose it, folks. Never let your imagination run from you, because it can pull you out of many a dark place in your life. Imagination is king. So, just straighten out his arms, make sure he is all ready to... I refuse to make a really bad monkey joke. I was gonna say something like, oh, so he doesn't go bananas? Haha, isn't that funny? Come on. His arse is being very difficult to get the switch back in. Nah, screw it, we'll just leave it there for the time being. But, all being said and done, we have Optimus Primal back in his ape mode. So, yeah, I think this guy is an absolutely terrific figure, and if you can find him for cheap, or if you even find him for, say, Christmas gift, birthday present, definitely pick this guy up. He's worth your time and your money, and you'll get a lot out of him. Especially if you're a collector, but especially as well if you enjoy play features, gimmicks, or even if you're just a kid looking for a Transformer to buy. So, with all that being said, this is Autobot ASMR, signing off for the day. Autobots, transform and roll out to bed. Till all are one.